Hi everyone, and welcome to the channel. I'm your host, Devin Frost. On here, I like to do a weekly review on a show or movie that I'm pretty interested in or like to watch. And so for this week, I decided to watch The Night Eats the World, a French zombie horror. Yes, you heard me right, a French zombie horror movie. It was both made in English and French. So there's two versions. You can watch either. I watched the English version on Amazon Prime if you want to watch it there. You can also watch it some other places. I couldn't really find the French version, but you could probably find it somewhere on the internet, I suspect. It's from Blue Fox Entertainment and Canal Plus and Haut it Court. Sorry if I pronounced that very, very, very wrong. I don't know how to speak French. Yeah, and the story is about a man named Sam who accidentally spends the night at his ex's. He wakes up to find himself in zombie-infested Paris. He kind of like she invited him there, I guess, to like make amends or something. I don't know. It wasn't like ever very clear what she wanted. I guess she wanted to talk to him privately, but like she kept like making him like stay, and this dude just seemed very awkward the entire time because she like was in a new apartment and she was like with a new guy and everything, and he was all over her and just wasn't really a good situation for him. So I didn't blame him for like wanting to leave very fast. All he wanted was his like music, his like cassettes, and like she like wouldn't let him get them for some reason because she wanted to talk about something about them, I guess, but like they never get to since spoiler, she you know turned into a zombie. Right off the bat, you're probably wondering what kind of zombies these are, and since like not every zombie is the same, these zombies in this movie are like a mixture. Like I could like recognizing like aspects of the zombie from like different franchises. So like the zombies in this movie, if you could, well, as you're seeing from the actual footage, they're blindish. They have like that milky eye, so they're kind of they're partially blind. Maybe some cataracts, some form of cataracts. I don't know, but they have that going on. But like they can like see like figures. They could definitely see like humans if they're like moving. They could definitely like make it out, but they won't like attack animals. Like for a cat, for example, in the movie, when you see it, they don't like ever go after it or anything. So I'm guessing animals are like off limits to them, and they would only usually react to sound. Only if you made a sound or something made a sound, they would like run at it, and like they wouldn't even like make noises per se. They wouldn't make like grunts or groans or like the famous or any of that brains. None of that. It's more like you can hear like their bones in their bodies like crunching and moving, I guess. And then they are always like gnawing at you. They like have their mouths almost constantly open. They have like constantly, especially if you see Alfred. Alfred's like the one of the main. He's like the old zombie in the movie. He's in the elevator shaft with Sam. Well, not with Sam. He's like Alfred's in the elevator shaft, but Sam's outside of it, so he doesn't get eaten by Alfred. These zombies sprint, by the way. These zombies run, depending on like if they're injured or not, because you can see some of them like like they're missing a leg or like an arm or something. Like they will fully go after you, like with no intention of stopping. So that's the kind of zombie that you're dealing with in this movie. So I think I'm just gonna go like over some things that I liked, and then I'll go over some things I didn't like as well. one of the things that is pretty prominent in this movie is our character Sam, because he's the only character in this movie per se. Like, he's the only alive human that we see besides the people at the beginning who get slaughtered at the end, at the beginning. Excuse me. They get slaughtered at the beginning, and he doesn't hear any of that night because he was hoping to meet his ex there, but she never showed up, and because I don't know, she got caught up with something, probably zombies, and he was sleeping through all of it. Like, he just fell asleep like immediately. Like, he got a nosebleed before that and like decided to rest. I don't know if that like was supposed to signify that like it's just going nutso or something. I don't know. You can clearly hear it, but he doesn't react to it. He's just sleeping. So I give him props for sleeping through the carnage. He's complicated but not complicated at the same time. Like, he wants to be normal per se. He's just not a normal guy. He likes to think himself as normal, but he's a real shut-in. He's he's really into music. That's like really the only thing you know about him. Like, he likes music because throughout the movie you see him like do musical things. Like I said before, like with the drums, he likes to play the drums. But like also there's like these scenes where he's making like noises, he's making songs or whatever, just making like with some random noises all together, like with the bottles and the splashes and like just making noises all over around. And that's one aspect of him. And then the other, there's like he's a caring human being. I thought he was going to be like the classic horror movie main character, the bad horror movie sorry, I had to clarify, bad horror movie, because there's like the tropes, that all the main characters do, that yeah, that they just all do, which he avoids, because like the very first thing that he does, I right off that I noticed was like when he comes out of the room after picking up his stuff in the morning, he sees all the bloodshed on the walls and stuff, like just sees the carnage, and then his first reaction is he sets down the stuff, and then he picks up an ashtray or some type of weapon, just something that was solid, I believe. But like, that was the right reaction. Seeing that much blood everywhere, like, usually in like any other horror movie, they're just like in shock. That was totally the right decision on his part. And then like further on, he starts acting like an actual, like, he knows what he's doing. Like, he's like taking care of himself. He's like a real survivor. Like, soon as he like gets himself situated, he realizes his situation, and he like just sits there and like has his, like I said, the realization that he's in this world now. He starts to go in survival mode. Like, he's measuring stuff, he's putting it in bags, he's like he's measuring his just like how much he's gonna last, how much he needs, just like all of this other stuff he doesn't really take in consideration, like the water at the beginning. He kind of showers. He's like enjoying it. I'm thinking to myself, he is straight up wasting water, and I hope he's enjoying it while it lasts, because almost as soon as like I'm done thinking that, you just hear rattling, and just like the pressure in the pipes just goes stupid because the water is running out, and his shower is about to end, which it did abruptly. And now he has to worry about water, like where to get it, how to drink it, how is he going to drink it? I mean, just all of that. He does later figure it out, like in the next couple scenes, that he just litters the roof with any type of container that is open that he can collect rainwater with, and so he can use it to drink and bathe with, which I thought was a pretty good idea. Just, I don't know, if you've never done anything like that before, I don't know, I just gotta give him props for that. That was a good idea. He also makes, like, when he's searching the apartment, makes good use of like what he has. He has like chalk, which is a very good idea. What he used it with, he marked a door that had the zombies in it to make sure like he didn't go back in there, or like anyone else went in there, to like not disturb them, or like, I don't know, get eaten for their sake, I guess. But then like he taped up the room to the where he set the old people that like died together, because he was originally gonna toss them. He was gonna toss one of them over, the balcony because of the stench of decay was getting so bad it was leaking up from below him up through the hole that he made to get down there to see what was going on up to him, so he had to get rid of them. So he like placed them in sleeping bags and he gave them like the respect they deserve instead of, because he was almost about to do it. You could like, he just had some humanity that you could see that was like, it was written all over his face. Like he really didn't want to do this and he did. Like he didn't want to do it, but he instead just gave them the respect they deserved and put them beside each other for the rest of eternity. So that was nice. Sam was an interesting character because he was just by himself a lot, and the movie deals with a lot of isolation and how like psychologically that does to a person over this period of time in a building, because the movie takes place in Paris but only takes place in one building since he's trapped in it, and you get pretty familiar with your surroundings, or his surroundings I guess, because over time you notice that things start changing, like just like the interior and the weather, because that has to do with each other, because he like sets up like a whole like, just puts drapes up in the winter and like gets his fireplace going, and he's like he has the bath next to the fireplace for warmth and all that, just adjusting to life I guess, and that single room has to like do something. That's why like you see him like break down over time, and like that's why he almost like shot himself with a shotgun when he got scratched by the zombie from saving the cat earlier, or tried saving the cat. Another big thing in this movie is sound. Sound is a major big thing in this movie, because in most horror movies, in any horror movie, I guess, sound is one of the biggest aspects. Not just visuals, but just like how everything is played into it, like just practical sounds of things just making noise, or like the music in it, or like there's there's just a bunch of silence in the movie, and it's used appropriately too, because there's usually just in France, it's France. There's a lot of people, roaming around the streets, driving and stuff, and there's lights and all that. Now in this world, in the zombie world, there's nothing. There's no lights. You don't see any lights. The Eiffel Tower is not lit up. And one scene at night is dark, and he's on top of the roof, and there's no lights, no nothing. There's no steam coming out, chimneys or nothing. It's like he's alone. He's like literally the last person on Earth, and it's just that since the zombies don't make much noise, like they just stand there, they don't make any clicks or anything, or just groans, or like I said. So like they wait for noise. They're gonna like literally listening out for something to go after and chase. So when Sam is in the apartment and he starts to go crazy, all he's hearing is just like like little stuff. I mean, like there's footsteps. You can hear constant footsteps going up and down the steps of the stairs or whatever, and that eventually terrifies him, because he would just assume anytime something is running up the steps, there's a zombie coming his direction. So that was a big thing as well, and also like noise can also play into jump scares as well. If like at the movie theater, it's usually pretty loud. The movie itself is pretty loud because it's super quiet, and the jump scares are going to try to like jump scare you with the noise. I think overall I would give this movie probably a B rating if I was going from S to E, like I was saying, like a tier list. But and not, instead of being in a list form, I'm just giving the grade, same grade as one. I would give this like a B, because it's still a good piece of story if looking at like the psychological and like the self isolation parts, and like it's not trying to be like every zombie movie there is out there. You can definitely tell like it takes aspects of like a bunch of different zombie franchises, but like it's an overall good movie. I didn't expect it to use sound so adequately. Like it was very attention to detail. Even like with like there was just practical lighting and that was just used perfectly, and just the overall ambiance of just silence and then bone crunching, I guess. Just it was just good use of it all. Even when the foot stomps would just scare the hell out of me. I couldn't tell if it was a person, which is not good, or a zombie, which is not even better. So that was great use of sound right there. I was surprised. And then like the attention to detail for some stuff, like the clock going out at 6 in the morning and symbolizing that like the night ate the world and the morning has come. And then the lady had the bloody rag over her face, and then after like he had to take care of the bodies, it like decayed, and you can literally tell there was physical decay on the bloody part of the rags on her head. You could like see like her face almost taking form a little, so that's how you can tell like it aged over time. And like some like going more into the shots, there is the God's eye point of view shot where at the beginning he's like on the roof, he just got to the roof, and then it goes over and you can see like every square foot of the roof just of that building, because that's where he is from now on, how like that's his area. I just like that shot overall because that's his area, that's where he's living now, he has to deal with it. And I just the other shot too, like I was talking about with Paris being no power, not having any power, you can like see like the Eiffel Tower without none of the buildings. Like those are also just great shots too, because you just see usually France is lit up with lights, and people usually try to like stay away from that grayish, just full on white, just blocking out light, just blinding people. Like they try to stay away from that, but they use that very well with this like the color of his clothing that he wears, and just like the overall color that they did for the editing. Like you could tell like they really like looked into that and they like edited it, so that came out really good. And then another like shot would be like him after watching that family get eaten. He's sitting there on the just whatever on the ground, and then he's by the window and the drapes are moving on his right, and then there's blood on the walls by him too, and there's blood on his shirt, and he's just like he's balled up right there, and he's just realizing like the world's over, like it's done. And then there were another shot would be the vertical rising overhead shot of him. The It doesn't like per se move steadily up, it actually moves with his movement, which was even better. The camera stayed with his movement. It like would jerk up and down sometimes, not a whole lot, it wasn't too noticeable, but I could tell like when it was like going up and down, when he was like going up the elevator shaft when the zombies are like trying to eat him, which I was kind of surprised they didn't bite his fingers, because I thought they would definitely bite his fingers, but they didn't. They just try to like claw at him, get at him. So I thought that was a pretty good shot. So yeah, overall, I would give this a solid B.